we gonna do? We need to have a party for our 4th anniversary.
Yeah, so 5th. We celebrate.
Give me the oldest headphones. Look, these are. Look at this.
Huh?
Give me the oldest headphones.
Get your own.
That would be something I should have like a big set of like professional just to state myself.
You want to look like a radio amateur?
Yeah, just a little bit apart. Debate. Debate.
And KHMC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
Debate.
Commercial.
Debate.
Commercial.
Debate.
Commercial.
Drive safely.
Called Wednesday. All that and more coming up with today's Wade and Carter Show. I feel naked without my prep sheet here.
Right? It's could be the only show we've ever done without a prep sheet.
It could be. And I
There's
almost feel naked without it.
Well,
But I think we've got this one covered.
it is interesting that you're wearing a Jags golf shirt and some whitey tighties, and that appears to be all.
Wow, who needs anything else after
Right?
last night's debate?
Wow, you gave me the
Yeah, let's do this
Cheap.
real quick. Did I?
cards.
Oh, good.
It's good though.
Good.
It's what I deserve. It's what I merit. Folks, on a very serious note, the Wade and Carter weather is brought to you today by Deerland Feed Store, folks. For everything you need around your home, your ranch, your property, Deerland Feed. If you need
Fencing supplies, grass seed, because it's almost time to start laying that down for winter grasses.
Denny Crane, Deerland Feed. Remember that show? What was that show called? Somebody help me. Ally McBeal.
Oh,
Denny Crane.
that
Go
was a law
Tigers.
firm, right?
Denny Crane now, William Shatner, is actually very tan, smokes a lot, and now coaches the LSU Tigers.
Justin Glass, good morning to you. Chris Jansen, Marvin Minkish.
We never actually said the weather.
Oh, you did.
52 degrees in Victoria, going to a high today of 87. We thank the great folks, Lacey, Deerland Rosenquist, the great folks at Deerland Feed for their patience with us as we try to become more interesting.
We try to become something. David Glass, Patrick Stoss, Bobby Leister, H.R. Mallory,
Debate!
Chris Conrad. Look at that. Bobby Leister. We're up to 176 YouTubers. We gained one yesterday.
Talk about the debate!
James Kurth, Matt Boucher, Natalie Mayer, good morning. Amanda Blaschke, Robin Moore Knipling, Arthur O'Brien. There's your boy O.B. CWB.
dumb show that was.
Let's get through the roll call, and then we'll
Good
get
morning,
back to
brother.
because that's a good jumping off point for
Yep.
for
David
where we're going.
Braga.
David Braga, Randy Rhea Jr., Chris Wallace won the debate, Matt Boucher says. Jeremy Pena, chicken from Lubbock. Scott Snow, good morning. Judge Posey.
Good morning, Judge.
Lori Reese. Lacey Merriman, good morning.
Hello,
So
Lacey.
the Dung Show, that's a good way to put it.
It's not bad. You've heard the Gong Show. This was the Dung
It
Show.
was the Dung Show. Jeremy Levitt checking in. I made notes because I kept pretty good notes until about 9 o'clock-ish, and then I was just,
That's when that Jameson kicked in. It was a 4-cocktail debate.
you had to play the drinking game. First comment I made, Trump looks less orange than normal,
I thought
and
it was
Biden
genuinely
looked very
tan.
pale.
But you know what? That is. I actually mentioned that to you. Did I not?
Yes.
Verbatim this morning. So one quick point worth noting on that. You won't recall. Judge Posey will recall that politically speaking, way back when, there was they called it the 5 o'clock shadow debate.
It was the first televised debate.
And John F. Kennedy, you have to go back a little bit, was young, aggressive. In fact, he today would be the same age as Donald Trump. John F. Kennedy embraced television, and television embraced him. He was young, he was handsome, he actually understood the medium. And Richard Nixon came in straight from the senatorial office and had, a 5 o'clock shadow. and he looked like Fred Flintstone. Is no kidding. And people say that swayed, that Kennedy looked young and vibrant. And I'm going to tell you that
because part of that
It
there was a study done, and the people that listened to the debate thought Nixon won it.
Right.
They only listened to it on the radio. People that watched it thought Kennedy won it.
Right. So last night, I'm
not
sure if anybody won, but I'll tell you that Trump looked healthy, and he even looked more fit. His face appeared thinner. And I did make that note. I told Donnie, good morning, T-Lab. I told Donnie, I said, Biden looks pasty. His hair and his face have all melded together into one flake.
Yeah. He had troubles looking President Trump in the eye.
Radiant. Chris Wallace, very, very lightly veiled anti-Trump.
It became the Chris Wallace show last night. My wife pointed that out very quickly, that asked if Trump was debating Wallace and Biden before all the memes surfaced and everything else. I mean, that was her quick.
I'm not sure the moderator should say, but you did say that, sir. Yes, sir, you did say that. The moderator argued. Now, to be fair, more than once, Wallace also requested that Biden shut up and give Trump his 2 minutes.
Yeah. But I don't know that he editorialized to set up a question as much with Joe Biden as he did with President Trump. So that was my first. As soon as I saw them come on the stage, that was the first takeaway.
And I totally agree.
So the first topic was the Supreme Court. Joe Biden says the Americans have to express their view.
President vote. You've got to vote. The voting is going on now. Therefore, the election is going on now. Therefore, they should wait until the outcome of the election.
And President Trump, I thought, was very smart with his response on that, saying the people had their voice 4 years ago. We have the Senate.
It was our right to do it. We win. Elections have consequences. We're moving forward. And by the way,
I'm not sure that was the right way to phrase that.
He's just like, hey, what, Joe, you're a jerk.
But I thought he was very on point with, I wasn't elected to serve 3 years. I was elected to serve 4 years.
To the victor go the spoils.
Toby Cooley says, good morning. The show's already 100 times better than the one I watched with 2 old guys.
Yeah. I keyed.
Here's the thing with that. That was must-watch TV. That was a show that I couldn't stop watching, even though I wasn't sure I could continue watching it about 40 minutes in. It had me on the edge of its seats. For all the wrong reasons, for the opposite reasons, I used to just sit on the edge of my seat and anticipate and watch the old Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers battles in the 1980s. This had me gripped on the edge of my seat, perched on the edge of my seat, gripping the armrests for all the opposite reasons. So I'm just putting that out there.
Understand. It says nearly 20 million people watched it on NBC and MSNBC. I wonder how many people watched it on Fox.
Yeah, H.R. Mallory says Trump pointed out that the Dems and the White House and the Senate, they would have done exactly the same thing.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely agree. And Biden did not backtrack or negate that point, because he knows it's darn true.
What I go ahead. I mean, let's just go through your points, because I have several comments to make about the people involved. But I would like to give you your 2 minutes, please, ensue.
So, you can interrupt like Trump did all night.
I might. Shut up, Joe.
The very first question about when he was asked about the Supreme Court and adding justices, he conflated it with the Affordable Care Act. I mean,
they're going to take away your health care. They're going to take away your health care, people. He's fear and feelings. Joe Biden, 2020. Yeah. Fear and feelings. I'm going to create fear. More people are going to die. But COVID's going to kill you all, unless you're like me.
If the president would have just picked up on that, the very first question, all he had to do was basically shut up and let Joe Biden talk himself into circles.
Yes.
Because when he started going about 45 seconds into every answer, he didn't know where he was going with the answer.
No, I agree.
He lost track of his 3 points many times, because many times his answers only had 3 points, and he would skip point 2 and go from 1 to 3. He can't even count to 3, folks. And this is the guy that they want to be president.
I mean, I don't think you're being hard on him. I think you're being very observant. And the reality is, if Trump would take the debate advice. Just don't acknowledge him. Look straight ahead. Don't make a bunch of facial expressions. Even Biden was a little. He ought to be a veteran, folks. 48 years, and Biden go. Well, you don't want to bring that attention to yourself. Let people listen to what the guy is saying, so that you don't. He wanted to get a reaction out of Biden, and vice versa. Trump gives him that smirk, that little Richie Rich look. He's looking at him like, you're an idiot, Joe. Yeah. But Donald Trump has true disdain for Joe Biden. He does not like Joe Biden. I can tell you that.
And then my next comment was, this is good TV.
Yeah, it was good TV.
My next comment, an observation, this is Trump needs to let the questions be asked. Chris Wallace couldn't even get his first or second question out with Trump trying to answer it and anticipate where he was going with it. And that was a mistake. I asked, why is Chris Wallace editorializing the questions? Because Chris Wallace was, for some reason, thinking he was auditioning for something, and I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
You didn't have to frame every question with, you could have easily just asked the questions and let them answer.
Well, and Wallace seized every opportunity. If Trump was talking, Wallace could go, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President. But if Biden kept talking, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice President, can I ask you? Because Wallace enjoyed and embraced the opportunity to have Trump talk over him. But now here's what's interesting. If your takeaway from the debate is that Donald Trump is a bully, then I say, where you been? Okay? But one takeaway that I had about Joe Biden last night that I did not anticipate is that Joe is weak like a puppy. Vladimir Putin would eat Joe Biden like an hors d'oeuvre, like beluga.
He thinks Chairman Xi wouldn't? Or if you think Chairman Xi wouldn't take advantage of it?
I'm telling you that there was a point in the debate where Trump said, shut up, Joe. And Joe closed his eyes and ducked his head and like shook his head. I mean, if Joe Biden, don't act like they didn't stoop to each other's level. Biden was throwing barbs at Trump too. Biden should have said, no, Mr. President, you shut up. On this stage, we're equal. And for once, there's going to be equality in the room that exists with you. But he didn't have the chutzpah to do it. He just cowered. He's weak. And that's a problem. So I don't believe anybody's mind was changed last night. Nobody. The people that are going to vote for Biden
are going to vote for
Biden. And the people that are going to vote for Trump are going to vote for Trump. I did tell you that I felt dirty. I was anticipating Trump roughing him up a little bit. And I used the analogy with you. You're at school, the big popular athlete keeps getting poked by the little pasty cheerleader water boy. And he finally says, you know what? That's it. I'm taking you on the parking lot after school and I'm going to thrash you. And everybody can't wait. Fight, fight, fight. Everybody can't wait for it. But after you watch it for a couple of minutes, you just feel kind of dirty. And you feel like you need to go take a shower. Because I was not proud of Donald Trump last night.
Peter McNally says total embarrassment for all of America last night.
I don't disagree at all, Pete. And thank you so much, sir, for that comment, because I agree with you. I think, and by the way, I think they were both not even equally terrible. Trump is a more vitriolic person than Joe Biden. And those proportions played out last night.
Jeremy Levitt says the whole thing that people hate about Trump, or that's the whole thing people hate about Trump. He's not swaying voters. He's rude. He shows no respect. He's always waiting to pounce. And that was on full display.
But you know what?
Last night.
As somebody else pointed out to me, you need somebody in these times who's willing to pounce on the zombie left, because there's such a fractured assemblage of special interest groups and people with no cohesive thought. Did you hear Joe Biden more than once last night say, I am the Democratic Party?
Yeah.
Because he can't point to any other leaders anywhere who are in lockstep with him.
Well, because he's trying to dispel the myth that he's just a puppet for AOC and Bernie Sanders and everybody else and Kamala Harris and everybody that he made deals with to back off the stage.
Keep going, because I want to see what you have to say about law enforcement and all that.
Well, it was very evident that both candidates have no plan for health care. None. They didn't answer that question. They danced all around it. None of them have a plan
So
to fix the healthcare problem.
you have a healthcare problem?
No,
Do you have
I
one?
don't.
I don't either.
No, but there's a perceived one, and if that's
Right.
if that's going to be like the third or fourth question asked in a debate,
I don't know.
those putting on the debate thinks it's, but neither one of them answered the question or had an answer for healthcare. Donald Trump could easily say, you know what? People need to keep their healthcare. Private healthcare is the way to go. We're going to do more to expand it and make it more affordable.
Well,
Boom.
the
Then he
problem
would have allowed that would have been the answer if he believes that private healthcare is the way to go. And Bernie, Joe Biden had no answer at all on that one, other than
Nobody,
Obamacare was good.
well, nobody who's had any involvement with Obamacare will tell you that it's good. Not if they're genuine and honest. It's a pain in the rear to get involved in. It's more expensive. It's killing the federal government financially.
Small business owners won't
Yeah.
certainly won't.
It is not. I mean, I have no problem saying, hey, anybody who needs health care in a country as rich and diverse as ours, diversity has something to do with it. In a country with the wealth that this country has, nobody should do without primary health care. Nobody should die because they need a surgery they can't afford. Now, with a little asterisk there, those things have expenses, and healthcare is expensive. Now, Donald Trump did talk about, I'd love to see if this is a fact check moment. He did mention that prescription drug prices, they're going to go down 80, 90% off. I'm telling you, it's going to be terrific. I don't know if I'm buying that, Mr. President. 80, 90%? I mean, I don't know about that. Insulin's so cheap, it's like water. Insulin's cheap now. And we're fat. We're a fat country. So everybody's diabetic. So let's just all get on insulin.
Well, he wasn't wrong about that.
Yeah, of course he didn't say that.
Joe didn't answer the question about packing the court. This is when I thought maybe Chris Wallace would redeem himself, because that was a question to ask Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden absolutely refused to answer it.
Deflected it and talked
Chris
about
Wallace even followed up and asked him to answer the question, and he did. So that was interesting.
See, if the Democrats can dilute the court, let's say the Democrats win, and they put on a justice for every, they put on one for Roberts, one for Gorsuch, one for Kavanaugh. Then all of a sudden, the court's back to a tie. I don't know why Donald Trump didn't just say, hey, folks, I got news for you. I put the best people available on the Supreme Court, and my gut tells me Roe v. Wade isn't going anywhere. Is Donald Trump subtly promising?
No, I thought he mentioned something about that yesterday.
Because Roe v. Wade's not going anywhere. I even told my mother, we were visiting the other day. I'm not even sure I want Roe v. Wade to go anywhere. And the reason is abortion isn't going anywhere until there's a moral and character shift in this country. Would you rather your niece who can't come to you have quality health care or a back alley coat hanger? The reality of it is Roe v. Wade can't go anywhere right now until there's a moral revival, if you will, in this country that says we're just not going to live this way. We're not going to handle our business this way. People are going to be. What's interesting now, Ash, when I was a kid, it would have been unfathomable that a school district, for example, would say every young girl in this school, we're going to put them all on a birth control pill. No, you're not. You're not going to talk to my kids about sex. Now, honestly, I think 80% of the people would go, yeah, pill them up, baby. I don't want to have to worry about it.
They're having it anyway.
Yeah, I do. I think that's where we're at as a nation. It's just, but this is not our debate.
No.
Keep talking about, by the way,
Let's
folks,
take our first break, because this is about the time I had to go get another beer.
Vera Cruz today, by the way, in Joe Biden fashion, I have just wet myself. I'm sorry. Vera Cruz today, folks, for lunch. It's Caldo Wednesday. Get in there. Just go in and say, Wade and Carter Caldo, please. Say, I want the Wade and Carter Caldo. That's all you'd have to do. It makes us look good. Makes you look really smart. The Wade and Carter Caldo. Go in there today. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull will come out. JP would have JP. If you're listening and you have any definitive numbers on the debate, call us. Any trivia you want to share, love to hear it. Razor IT Solutions will help you with your website presence, the structure of it, the way you can click. You've been on websites that just flow. I want to know about these people. Here's our team. Sometimes they have pictures, sometimes they don't. JP can make all that work for you. Reach out to him. Atzenhower dealership since 1926. Victoria's dealership. Think of all the presidents. We're talking before Jimmy Carter. They were here.
Carter might have been born.
Yeah, it certainly was, yes. But be aware that the Atzenhower dealership is perfect for you.
White Trash Services,
550-1826.
give BJ and Scott Nelson a call for all your trash collection needs in Victoria County and the 5 contiguous counties.
It's the first
Use a
day
big
of their
word today.
31st year of marriage.
That's right. Awesome.
So let's talk with Jake.
What's good? Now, J-Dub says it was a car crash he couldn't look away from.
Absolutely. It was like NASCAR on truck night.
Chris Conrad says healthcare is expensive because everyone who's paying for it is paying for those who don't pay for it.
Correct. So is it better for the country to take taxes from you up front and then pay for it for those who don't pay for it? I don't think so.
Okay, New Year says Trump is brash, he's rude, a bit ruthless, but I've never been a successful businessman that became a millionaire by letting people run over them.
Amen.
Trump was debating 2 people last night. Wallace clearly targeted the president.
I agree 100%. Is Wallace the moderator on the second debate?
No, they'll probably get Don Lemon or somebody like that.
What about Don Cheadle? He's been in everything else.
Kevin Langer says, I was right in figuring that Chris would be facilitating, helping Joe, and he did, and I was wrong on that. I thought Chris Wallace would do a good job. He lost control of it
But
early.
does that help Donald Trump? Does anybody in the country go, well, that wasn't Billy? That wasn't a fair debate. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. I don't think it does. I think the American people are tuned in enough. I do think
I can't wait for the next one.
I can't either, but I'm telling you, it's the fear and feelings tour of Joe Biden. COVID's going to kill you. It's because of him. It's because of him. And he was trying to instill fear in the American people, and we're not scared. The American people aren't scared. Did you hear Donald Trump say, hey, if you're elderly, if you're going to get sick, that's fine. The rest of us want to go back to work. Donald Trump is simply saying what sane people have been saying for months. You're just not used to hearing it from the leader of the free world. Because, look, people are going to die. It's what happens.
And I was impressed, though, with the president's answer when he did address all the other deaths attributed to the shutdowns, blame the Democrat cities and the governors in those states for taking the measures that they have, because Joe Biden falsely tried to blame the shutdowns on President Trump and the federal government.
Where else have you heard someone say, hey, don't forget about all the deaths associated with despair, losing your business, secondary illness, or not being able to get into the hospital, depression? Was that maybe here?
Drugs, alcohol.
Did we maybe talk about that?
Almost from the get-go when
Very
they started talking shutdown. But
Did you hear Trump say, he said, all they had to, he said, it's your fault, Mr. President, that these cities are all in turmoil. He goes, really, Joe? They could have called me. I could have cleaned that up in 30 minutes. And you know what? He said it with emphasis.
Yeah.
I could have sent the National Guard in there and cleaned that up in 30 minutes. They didn't call. And boy, is he right.
Jeff Fonseca says he was so frustrated he turned the TV off and fell asleep. Roy Gutierrez, good morning.
Good morning, Roy.
So, more on the COVID and the vaccine.
What do you think that means?
I don't know. Steve Scully is what I found out. Maybe he's monitoring the next debate.
Oh, thank you, Dawn. She's involved in this process. She likes politics. She just didn't want to argue with anybody, except me.
Joe Biden tried to point out that Donald Trump is at odds with his experts. And but I don't know that it's necessarily always a bad thing.
No,
you can't question things. I mean, like we do here. And I'll get to more on this. I'm just pointing out my notes here. But Joe Biden made it seem like disagreeing with somebody is a bad thing. And that's part of the problem in this country as a whole. We've gotten to a point where we can't disagree and still be civil enough to respect each other's opinions
Right.
without, and it's mostly the left, getting their feelings hurt because you say something that doesn't confirm their position on something, so you're automatically a racist, a misogynist, any ist word they can come up with to
Right.
label you, because they want to shut you up and they want to be the ones that dictate the narrative and drive this country forward. It's
I
what it
agree.
boils down to, and they still haven't got over the fact that they lost the election. And I thought that was maybe the one most poignant point of the debate last night, was when Joe Biden started to bring up this fake narrative of Donald Trump not leaving the White House and a fair transition, and the president was eloquent and absolutely on fact when he said, you want to talk about a fair transition? I haven't had a fair transition since I got here, and before that even started, because of what Hillary tried to do. And this
That's
was
right.
a big point missed yesterday by Chris Wallace and those that were running the debate.
Yeah, they could have helped him explore that point, but they didn't want to.
The director of national intelligence yesterday unclassified documents that show Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump started to talk about this, and Joe Biden just about crapped his pants when he did.
Yep.
Because he did bring it up a little bit that Joe Biden knew of Hillary's campaign or plan to undermine Trump's campaign to completely deflect attention from the Russia hacking of the DNC, how her server played a role in that, and all the other garbage that was going on with that. And that whole DNI letter yesterday was basically the admission that Hillary Clinton faked it all to take
That's
the
right.
attention off her. And that
That's
was
right.
completely ignored by Chris Wallace. Donald Trump brought it up, and Joe Biden just about crapped himself because he knew he had been caught. And if Donald Trump would have pounded him on that point at that moment, Joe Biden would have melted into a puddle of nothing, because his spine would have melted and he would have lost the debate at that point. That's the one mistake. That's the biggest mistake Trump made. He brought it up and then didn't go forward on it when he should have.
So here's a comment from Hassan Whiteside. He's a player for the Portland Trailblazers. The NBA, the moral compass of the country, because they're so smart. NBA players are so smart. I don't know if you knew that. Hassan Whiteside says, I can't take 4 more years of this. Screw America. I'm moving to Hawaii, bro. Really? Last time I checked, Hawaii was America.
Yeah.
Yeah, Biden says he has a plan, but never says what it was. Kevin Liger says, look, never in human history have we ever quarantined the healthy and destroyed an entire economy. The sick should be quarantined, no one else. And the sick or the susceptible should self-quarantine. If you feel like you may be susceptible, like Trump said, I'm not opposed to a mask. He pulled it out of his pocket. I've got a mask. If I'm in a situation where and Biden tried to make a big deal about it, that a reporter approached him. He said, whoa, keep your distance. Isn't that what Biden wants him to do?
That's what the CDC wants you to do.
He said, whoa, keep your
And he
distance.
tried to say that was because he was selfish, because he was protecting himself. Well, isn't that what we're supposed to do?
If everybody would just protect themselves, we could all get on with living.
But that's not how the Democrats want it. They want to protect
The
you.
government's got to take care of you. The government's got to find you health care. The government's got to do everything for you because you're too stupid. You think like Trump, and that makes you stupid. That's what Joe Biden wants you to believe.
I give you no credit. So my next comments,
He's a punk.
Trump had some pettiness in him, I thought.
Yes.
Biden wouldn't look at Donald Trump. He
'Cause
would
he's
not look at him
scared
because
of
he's
it.
scared of him. I thought Donald Trump made a good point about the Dem states hurting the people with their actions. I thought that was a very good point. Joe Biden was promoting the fake news about the taxes. That was something Chris Wallace hammered him on a couple of times. And Donald Trump said, I've paid millions in tax. Even the New York Times piece that came out on the weekend, and you had to read well into it.
Right.
But I found it, and I'm gonna pull it up here because it's important.
While you're pulling, Donald Trump, you're right. Donald Trump did point out 2 things that I thought were key. One of his biggest punches to Biden's ego was, I've done more in 47 months than you've done in 47 years. And you know what? He's right. So then Biden starts talking about how all the Democratic-run cities, that it's not really their fault, it's Trump's fault. And Trump said, have you reached out to those Democratic leaders? Have you reached out to the leaders of those cities? I can't. I'm not in office anymore. Really?
But he was quick to point out that he had plans for everything else but that, and he could help.
Man. $4 trillion. It's going to create $1 trillion worth of work. Is that a good investment?
Not by anyone's
I'm going to
means.
spend $4 trillion that isn't real to earn $1 trillion,
Which isn't real because if you listen to some of the particulars of that plan, it was government spending into industries. It wasn't dollars being turned over into the economy and you and me going out spending $1 trillion worth of money. It was government money getting recycled. So they're going to raise taxes by $4 trillion
over 10 years, though, Ash, over 10 years.
to then spend $1 trillion into industries.
So that's only $400 billion per year in new taxes.
A 1 to 4 return on your investment. Would anybody take that ever?
So with 330 million people, it's about an extra $1,500 per person in the country per year. So if you're a family of 4, that's about $6,000, only $500 a month. Cancel the country club, Mabel. We're going to buy the Green New Deal.
Kind of sounded like Social Security in a way.
Well,
For every 4 you put in, we're going to take 1 out.
Well, the thing is, Ash, what he said, and if you put all the little pieces together, he talked that the Green New Deal will pay for itself. And then Trump said, are you for the Green New Deal? Well, no, I'm not. It's the Joe Biden plan. It's the Joe Biden plan, not the Green New Deal. Folks,
I'm glad you brought that up because I got something right off his website just to verify that. But
they're talking about putting caulk and stuff in 400 million buildings. Are you kidding me?
the weatherized buildings.
He's
Come
an
on.
idiot.
Yeah. But here was the New York Times piece.
Tell me.
And this is way down in it. So you've got to really scroll to find this. And you know the mainstream media didn't do that because they never got to this point. Mr. Trump paid alternative minimum tax in 7 years between 2000 and 2017, a total of $24.3 million.
In taxes that he paid.
Alternative minimum tax.
Right.
Then some tried to argue the semantics. Well, that's not income tax. You don't pay the alternative minimum tax until you reach a threshold on your income as you're doing your income taxes.
Right.
It's designed to keep people who could write everything off, as they claim Trump did, from not paying any taxes and tax credits and all these losses and everything else. So he paid $24.3 million. That was buried way down in it. The media tried to focus on line 56 of his tax return of the $750 that he paid.
He's got good accountants. He only owed $750 at the end of the year.
But he didn't. He paid $24.3
million.
million over 7 years in alternative minimum tax. And he took advantage of tax credits that the government gave him for restoring old historic
That
businesses.
Joe Biden voted for.
Yeah. So
He did the same thing at the embassy in Jerusalem, right? Didn't he take an old building or one of the embassies? He took an old building overseas and repurposed it.
I know the one in Jerusalem cost about $500,000, and they were saying that, I think Obama said one of the reasons he can't move the embassy, that's $1 billion project.
That's what it was. He took an old building and repurposed it.
So here's the Green New Deal thing. When he said he was the Green New Deal was going to save everything, but he wasn't for the Green New Deal. Vice President Biden knows there's no greater challenge facing our country and our world. Today is outlining a bold plan, a clean energy revolution. This is his website, folks. Biden believes the Green New Deal is a crucial framework for meeting the climate challenges we face.
Folks, he wants to take your money and create government jobs, people working for the government, to then go out. He said these are good paying jobs, not $15 an hour jobs. These are good paying, sustainable jobs.
Hard, good jobs, I think he said.
Giving these people tubes of caulk to go out and fix all the buildings. Yeah. They're working for the government. It's like a public works program.
It's Solyndra all over again. $500 million given to a friend of his or a friend of Obama's, and no accountability on the end of it because we have no idea where that money went. What are you doing?
There's a brass one that goes.
Yeah, and I don't know. Well, I don't know.
You give me
Take the break. I'll fix it for you.
Hey, you're a good man. Tell you who else is a good man. Alan Miller at Alan's Wrecker Service. That's Alan's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Alan will come out. He's your go-to to. He'll get you where you need to be. He'll get you there safely. He'll get you there carefully. Alan's the best of the best. He's the best of the best before they even vote and try to sell you the ad. He's the best. Reach out to Alan Miller. The VCS Company is Rocket Oilfield Services and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. Thank you, sir. All on Kerr Boulevard, all part of the Hartman contingent. Jim Hartman sent me a note last night, said he had switched over from the debate and was watching the Weather Channel. That's how exciting the debate was to a political veteran like Mr.
And
Hartman.
I disagree because I thought it was absolutely phenomenal.
Riveting. You thought it was riveting? We never disagree with our sponsors. Chesley Furniture Company. By the way, VCS, whether you need surveillance, security, fire suppression, fire detection,
Fire monitoring.
they've got it all. Two-way radios, surround sound, home stereo, home theater. If it's technical, if it's beautiful, think about it as like,
Stations when you walk in that can monitor your temperature.
think of it as like Best Buy with talent. Like, not only do they have the stuff, they know how to make it work and teach you how to do it. Chesley Furniture Company, 100 years, downtown Victoria, 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. Bedding, Tempur-Pedic, other brands, furniture, appliances, washers, dryers, televisions, lamps, lampshades. What do you call that stuff, Ash?
Accoutrement.
Oh, love it when you talk French. Bobby Leon and his family, folks. Been doing it for years. They'll do it for you.
Yeah.
By today, they'll deliver it today.
You want a better example of the community taking care of those who need help because the government won't do it, wasn't doing it.
How about Blue
Can't do
Bonnet
it.
Youth Ranch?
Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch.
And they do it better than the government can do it. It's not-
50 some, yeah, and they're being hamstrung by government regulation, but we won't get into that. But 50 years ago, a group of businessmen in Yoakum saw there was a need to help kids in need and started the Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch. Now they need your help. COVID and the shutdowns imposed by state governments have caused issues with their annual fundraiser. So they've gone to a raffle. Tickets are available at all the local Cimarron stores.
6 for 100.
6 for 100. And you're supporting a great cause and some great prizes in that raffle. There's weekend getaways. There's a private backyard concert with a Nashville recording artist. Just a lot of fun and a great cause. And you will continue to help you will continue the legacy of helping over 600 kids in this region reach their potential and become productive members of society.
And think about the synergy, folks. $100 that you buy 6 raffle tickets, whether you win or not, that $100 is going directly to. There's no expenses.
Food, clothing,
You could
all the
probably feed a
things.
kid for 3 or 4 weeks on that $100 at Blue Bonnet. It's a big family environment. The kids have done well.
They have chores, they have animals, they have garden plots, they have to be involved in extracurricular activities in school.
Yes.
It's a phenomenal place and they do a great job. So please support the Blue Bonnet Youth
Wayne
Ranch.
Carter is big fans of the Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch. So go back to your notes,
Yeah.
sir.
Joe Biden was promoting the fake news about the taxes, but we just discussed that. I thought this was an interesting point. You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. Here's the problem I have with this, and it's not just Trump. Any president in office, I thought Trump had a new term for it, the China plague, which I thought was interesting. That was one that I didn't see coming. But I don't care who the president is. No president was going to stop this virus from getting here. No president in this country was really going to do anything much different than what's happened, because if that was the case, and we knew it was coming, the Obama administration would not have just sat there with depleted reserves of all the personal protection equipment that they did, right? Let's be honest about this, which I think a missed point for Donald Trump. He missed that one completely last night when Joe Biden was in power and could have actually done something to help the people. He didn't. Instead, he said, we had to make and get a whole bunch of equipment. Well, because you let it go, Joe. You didn't do anything with it.
Right.
You depleted it, and then you didn't restock.
That's true. And they acknowledged it in New York that the storehouses were empty.
But the interesting thing, too, Ford, GM, a whole bunch of others started making ventilators, My Pillow started making masks.
Didn't they decide ventilators weren't the way to go?
Yeah, well, yeah, but we didn't know that at the
We didn't
time
know
because
that.
this thing changes
This thing
constantly.
changed constantly, and if they want to hold Trump accountable to a standard of perfection, I have to tell you, and you may say that I'm lying to you, but I'm not. I like to think that I'm just as hard on Trump when he's dumb, which I've done here numerous times. I just don't believe that there's any scenario available where I would have blamed this on President Obama. I just don't. I didn't blame the flu that they had. What was it?
Swine flu.
Swine. I didn't blame that on President Obama. That wasn't his fault. Only 14,000 people died. Joe knew that number. He kind of dismissed that. Only 14,000.
Yeah.
200,000 here. By the way, I'll tell you that only 14,000 have died of COVID. How about that? 6.5%. We've been looking at that number from the CDC for a while. 200,000, 6.5%. That's 13,000 people. The rest had comorbidities, man. It's the way it is. I had the bug. I get hit by a bus. Oh, you died of COVID. That's what happened.
Clayton Meyer says he's not disagreeing about the general intelligence of NBA players, but that Whiteside tweet was a fake.
Oh, was it?
Good
Man. But you know what's sad is, I guess that's my stereotype, is that I believed it could have been very real. Adam Shearer says that's a lot of caulk. He would know.
Clayton Meyer says there's nothing a good caulk job can't fix.
Let's go careful with that.
Jennifer Caslow says duct tape solves all the world's problems.
It does.
Yeah. And Flex Seal.
Flex. I'm going to make a boat
Out of
out of
the
this
screen
screen door. It worked.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. There's trouble.
So let's see what else. The income tax question. Biden did admit Trump was smart to take advantage of the tax laws. He did admit that.
And he
In
said,
the
hey,
middle of
you're
it.
the one that gave me the tax
Yeah.
laws. I just took
Yeah.
advantage of them. I've got accountants for that.
That got us to 9 o'clock. All that to 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I said this is turning into a crap show
Yes.
at
that's
that
what you
point,
said
which
to
it
me.
was. No, yeah. Then I got to that point. Joe had all the answers, but now that he's not elected, he can't meddle in Portland. That was an observance that I made.
Yeah.
Then they were talking about it, and then he started getting in on the job creation, and this was more my view on this. It's not the government's job to create jobs. That creates bureaucracy. That puts people to work on the government dole. The government job is not to provide jobs.
That's right.
Secure the border, secure the nation,
Balance the budget, leave me alone.
fund the critical infrastructure. The rest is all superfluous and has been lobbied for and won't ever go away.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, Republicans have done a good job over the years of talking small government. They've not lived up to it, ever.
Did you feel?
In fact, a lot of times when we've had Republicans in charge, government has grown.
Did you feel any sympathy for Joe when Donald Trump goes, go ahead, name one law enforcement group that supported you. We'll wait. We have time. Go ahead. Tell us, Joe. And then he just kept at it. Joe, tell us that one law enforcement officer that supported you. And Joe's just like, this guy.
Yeah.
I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Born there and never really lived there.
He's lived in Washington for 2/3 of his life.
Yeah, he likes to come across as a small town guy. He's not.
That's like when, what's his name? Al Gore tried to come off that he was from Tennessee. His dad was from Tennessee. Al Gore grew up in Washington, D.C.
Joe Biden did say storms never happened before. When he
Yeah.
started lifting off hurricanes, floods,
None of that ever
wildfires,
happened.
storms didn't happen before. Direct quote. I'm like, really?
Fires.
Wow.
The fires are all Trump's fault. And then what did you think about the whole bit about climate change? That somehow that was all Trump's fault, and partly because he pulled out of the Paris Clean Air Accord.
Yeah. Which, what did that accomplish?
Nothing.
It allowed have countries to be able to buy tax credits or carbon credits from have-not countries, so the have-not countries could continue to pollute
Right.
at the levels they were
Correct.
to continue to supply the have countries with their cheap products and basically continue to enslave third world countries to first world countries. That's all the Paris Clean Accord.
That's all it was. You want to
Airport
keep
was
buying,
doing.
you have to buy. If you want the West Virginia coal miner to continue mining coal, you really don't mine coal. You just buy credits, and then and then India continues to pollute. The problem I have with that, and it's the hypocrisy of all Americans, all of you. I'm looking at an Apple iPad. It was made in China. I can sit over here and gripe all day about the clean air in America, and it's
Although it's priced like a Curtis Mathis TV.
I don't care, speaking in stereotype, I don't care about the fact that China's over there just chugging out black smoke as long as I can buy my Samsung and all that cheap. As long as I can get me a cheap TV, I don't really care deep in my heart. Nobody in America stands up and says, I'm not going to buy anything from China until they clean up the air. We just blame Trump over emissions. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Richard King says when people realize the government doesn't make any money, the money the government has is our money.
That's exactly right.
And people might wake up.
Yeah. Yeah, he did say that Joe Biden was always wearing a face mask that was bigger than his face. That's interesting.
I'm not sure Biden even remembers last night's debate.
He doesn't. He's like a duck. He wakes up in a new world every day. It'll be new for him. Now, and I don't know how much more you want to go into the debate, but if Trump is smart at the next debate, he'll completely rope-a-dope. He'll just turn around. He'll face forward. He'll be polite. He'll let Biden have his entire 2 minutes. And Biden will be so anxious about when Trump's going to jump on him, Biden won't have a coherent thought. Not that he ever has one anyway. But he'll babble. He will babble.
Well, on the last point before I stopped making notes and just enjoyed it.
It's written in Russian.
Yeah.
Did you revert?
The Green New Deal will pay for itself, Joe Biden said.
Yeah, we're going to take $4 trillion.
At about the time he said that he doesn't believe in the new Green Deal. And I equated that to back when Justin Trudeau was running for Prime Minister of Canada and told Canadians, and the majority of Canadians bought it, that the budget would balance itself.
Yep.
How do you plan to budget the balance? Well, or balance the budget. The budget will balance itself, he said.
Christopher Conrad says America's worst addiction is cheap goods. I think it's truth to that.
Drugs, beer, smokes.
It's interesting. I saw it the other day.
devices.
It said when the black community was hooked on crack, the blacks were demonized and imprisoned. But now that white America is hooked on meth, it's a social problem, and I don't agree with that. I think we've just got a lot of white trash out there smoking meth.
Well, and who locked up the majority of blacks for drug crimes, petty drug crimes, misdemeanor drug crimes? Who was the one on that stage last night that locked him up because of
Joe Biden,
because of his crime bill in 1994?
How do you feel about why do you think that last night there was absolutely not one mention of the border, the inhumane treatment of illegal immigrants, the rapid spread of COVID through the chain link concentration camps holding young children away from their parents? I mean, this has got to be a key focus of the Democrats with all their compassion. Why did no one mention the little children in the cages? Why didn't that happen?
Fake news.
Because it's all fake news. And guess what? It worked. Have you heard anything about the border in a year? In a year, have they talked about the border? Nah. Why? Was it never really that big an issue? Was it just a contrived political issue? Or are we just free streaming? Or is it, crop season? We're just free streaming people in.
I think the numbers have dropped considerably since they were where they were 3 to 4 years ago, and that's part of the reason. It's normal. They're not coming over in 100,000 a month through the El Paso sector anymore.
I tell you what, and guess what? We still are allowing the same number of legal immigrants every year. God bless America for that.
But here's my big takeaway.
Tell us.
During that debate yesterday, America was the big loser.
Yeah,
we put all our dirty laundry out there for the entire world to see, and we looked like a bunch of buffoons. And the sad reality is, these are the best two candidates we have.
Yeah, so
they put all their idiocy on display for all the world to see yesterday, and it was from that standpoint, it was a disgrace.
I'm still voting for Donald Trump. No surprise there. But now, to a percentage, I'm voting against Joe Biden. How about that? I was 100% bought in for Trump. Now it's 80-20.
Well,
I'm voting 20% against Joe Biden.
if you take COVID out of it, and this goes back to my original point,
Oh,
they had Joe Biden picked to be their leader before COVID because they knew there was no chance. They didn't want to waste the candidate, and I still believe that Harris was his running mate after she dropped out. That decision, even though he waited on it forever, already preordained because they didn't want these two hanging around. If Joe somehow miraculously manages to stay alive and somewhat lucid in 4 years, they didn't want them elected and then having to be the next ticket 4 years later. They ran him this time around because pre-COVID, nobody was beating Trump.
Pre-COVID, Joe Biden would have voted for Donald Trump. The economy was through the roof. Yeah. By the way, it has rebounded substantially. And even Chris Wallace acknowledged it's rebounded quicker than the pundits thought it would.
Yeah. What is a K curve? Chris Wallace, Joe Biden said the recovery is more like a K curve. And I'm like, wasn't quite sure how that one went. But this debate would have been meaningless if COVID hadn't done what it did, and no president could have done any better a job or worse a job than COVID. It's a virus that was going to do what it was going to do.
I agree. No,
and you can say the government didn't take it seriously. I look back on our own county website, and the end of January, the CDC was already issuing warnings about a new virus that could pose problems and had social distancing and masks and hand washing and all that stuff already sent out to health districts around the country. End of January. A week later, the president put a travel ban on that he was right to point out that Joe Biden said was xenophobic and borderline racist by others because he was banning flights from China. But I don't know.
Everybody got mad at him about that. I think he was right. And I'll tell you something, folks. I believe that Donald Trump knows that this was a biological weapon. I do. I think that China intentionally, wantonly infected their people and allowed this to happen. Or at the very least, when they went, whoa, this is an opportunity. Put those sick people on a plane and get them out of here. And the next thing you know, we got people all over the world infected.
And he was right to say you can't trust the numbers from China, Russia, India, because you can't.
No, you can't.
But
that's anyway. Like, Putin's like, hey, we ain't had nobody get sick. We're Russians.
But I don't believe Trump was great last night. I don't believe Biden was great last night.
Right. So,
and I think if there were any fence sitters, which I don't think there were, Trump lost voters yesterday. If they were using that debate to make up their month. But I don't know that Trump or that Biden won him over. I think if they helped anyone, they helped Joe Jorgensen and the Libertarians.
See, nobody was going to remember that guy's name. It's a girl. Whatever. You know, that person's got no chance. The person's going to be like 75 votes from relatives. Fine. Tell you what, if you take 75 folks and your relatives, Uncle Mutt's Barbecue is the place you want to go. We'll ask Ron Kosher here in a minute. He'll tell you. Uncle Mutt's caters for huge groups. They can take care of your family get-together, your family event. The event that Cheryl plans from Gray Barn Design, you can reach her at 920-6803. Cheryl will help you make your next event memorable. You want barbecue? She'll hook up with Uncle Mutt's. She'll get you the Wade & Carter discount. It's called Free Pickles and Onions. And you will have brisket, ribs, sausage, chicken, turkey. They've got it all. The side dishes you want, Uncle Mutt's. That's your home. Get a hold of them. Went Services, Went Electrical, Went Generators.
Now it's just Went Services.
Yeah.
Ease of
solar panels.
Putting that all on the side of a van.
Battery backup.
Didn't all fit, so they went with Went Services.
Reach out to Went. They're so good at so many things. They're kind of like the VCS companies. They just keep growing by doing this horizontal integration. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we'll hire a plumber so that we can hook up your generator to propane and have a certified plumber make the connection, which is a requirement. You can get a generator done faster.
You don't have to wait on a sub to come do it.
You can't hook that up yourself.
No.
It's got to be done by a certified plumber. That's the things you don't know. That's the things Went does know. And then, of course, Charlie Garcia and the folks at USA Concrete Coatings. They're doing great work. They're taking garages and turning them into man caves. They're taking porches and turning them into places you actually want to sit and visit. Back
Taking
patios,
sidewalks you can walk down without slipping.
pool decks, freshen that pool up. The water's the water. It's all around it that you need help on.
Exactly.
Come on. All right, so folks, we're going to bring Ron Koshman here. I'm very nervous. I don't know. Maybe Colonel Mike will come in. I don't know. The Colonel, I guess he's trying to say that he's older now. He's wearing a mask. I don't know.
I don't
Man
know.
he flew helicopters in battle and he's wearing a mask. It's like cheated death so many times and now he's worried about a mask.
I
Now,
wasn't afraid of the Viet Cong, but he's afraid of the China virus.
right? It's like, I just, so many straight lines. I just keep letting them go. I'm going to let you, Mr. Koshin. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
I'm going to let you rotate that. You can turn that gently, and you can get the Colonel on there. I'm very nervous.
Why you want the Colonel on? You think he's better looking than me?
Well, in this
He's got the microphone.
He's got the microphone,
No.
and you have to talk close to that.
I have a great face for
It's
radio.
always sterilized. Yeah, you're good. So I'm a little anxious. This is the respect we have for Warriors Weekend and for you guys, and I know the Colonel would never put me in a bad spot. But you guys, you've seen all these different Trump sayings. You've seen, Trump, keep America great, make America great. We're tired of all the BS. Some of them even spell it out.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Colonel and Mr. Koshin have one that does spell it out.
Yeah, I think Ron. In fact, Ron's
There we
one,
go. Gotta get this talk right into that mic.
understands what that says, and and
It,
actually the really cool thing about it is that it's signed by Ted Nugent.
it's Ted, a huge conservative and a real kind of a Renaissance man for a guy that we all know is a rock and roll guy. Really a conservative and a
Hoochie
smart
coo.
man.
Yeah.
Smart cat scratch fever. Smart man though, and a very serious patriot.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I've seen him
Great
speak.
American.
I saw him perform once at when Governor Perry got reelected. I went to a governor's ball
Right.
and Ted played.
He's a better speaker than he is a singer.
Yeah, but he's still got it. He's like 70.
I know, right?
Yeah, but he can still bring it.
What's
So
wrong with 70?
nothing. No,
Okay.
sir. No, it looks good on you.
All right.
Let me tell
And
you
you.
that. So without going into great detail, the letters MF appear on the cap. That's fair, right?
Yes.
If you would like to own a piece of, and then we're raising money, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Raising money. Yeah, we always are. Aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes. We're raising money for Warriors Weekend. That they've had to postpone.
We were going to have this at the mustard, but
We need to get over here, Ron, so we can
Ron,
hear
get over
this
here
real
with the
quick.
Colonel.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You guys can share that microphone. It's been cleaned up.
Well,
Speak right into it.
And he's already had it. So
We were going to have this at the mustard, but we didn't get to have the mustard. So
Got to get closer to the mic and
Yeah.
right in front of
you're
you.
right now with re-electing somebody, and you can't do it after the election, so it doesn't make sense. So we thought, man, I don't know anybody that's got more guts than Wade and Carter. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll do it.
We can do it. We can do it and promote it. But what we'd like to do is take a couple of days. Can I put it? Maybe I can put it on the Wade and Carter webpage, on the Facebook page later.
You could.
Okay, I'll put a picture of it up later. But what I'm thinking is we would like to have a Wade and Carter auction like we've been known to do.
Y'all done well with them.
And we've been very blessed because our listeners will support just about anything, and we love that. So but you know how much we are big fans of Warriors Weekend. So what we're going to do, folks, is start the bidding on this hat at $200, and we want to sell. Our goal is to raise $1,000 for this cap, at least $1,000 for this cap. We haven't talked about this, but that's what I think we should do.
Because it's signed by Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And it's purely, I would love for 3 or 4 of y'all to get together, create a syndicate. None of you are going to wear this hat for very long. Would love for you to create a syndicate and buy this hat. We'd love to raise $2,500, maybe $5,000.
We're at 250 already. Chris Jansen says
There,
250.
Chris Jansen is, him, he's a cattle rancher. He's awesome. So I love it. I think that we're on the right track. And we want to raise this money for Warriors Weekend. Tell us, and don't worry, our listeners will take care of it, and we'll get it taken care of. Bring us up to speed. Where are we at? And tell me about the big
Okay,
events that
I'm
are
gonna
coming
turn
up.
this over to Kurt. We have something very special coming up that's never been done there before.
Are you with the VEDC? Because that's what you sound like right there. It's very special. It's
Well,
going to be
we're trying
terrific.
something new to
It's
explore.
something
That's
new.
true.
We're putting heads in beds, and it's
Don't go over there with
VEDC.
me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Me and the city council don't get along too good on that. But Colonel's gonna tell you about it. It's his baby, it's his project, and it's very important. David Brucker, hope you're listening out there.
Oh yeah, he's listening. He's a every morning guy.
Colonel.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Now, I'm gonna give credit where credit's due right up front. About 3 years ago, Ron came to me and said, Colonel, what about putting first responders in on this field of honor? And I said, Ron, I love the first responders. I respect them. In fact, if it wasn't for my ex-wife, I probably would be one. But
Wow.
yeah. But anyway, at the time I was thinking, okay, we've got all these warriors coming in, who have deployed to Afghanistan, and deployed to Iraq and everything. I said, it just doesn't seem like a good fit right now. Okay. Well, fast forward 3 years, and we actually had gone and talked to T. Michael O'Connor and said, hey, we think we want to hold a completely separate and distinct field of honor in September. Okay. Well, it was already August, so we said, you know what, let's make it a year. Well, then COVID hits. Okay. So it's compressed everything. So this year, went back to Ron and said, Ron, what do you think? I think this is the year. And of course, this was actually before all the stupid stuff started happening in all these major cities. And I said, I think this is the year that we need to include first responders in on this field of honor. So long and short of it is, guys, we are going to honor not only veterans and currently serving military, we are also going to honor first responders this year with Texas flags.
That's
And I
fantastic.
think that's a great thing. Now, one other thing, there is kind of a war on COVID right now, and so our frontline folks who are COVID responders, all those medical people that are serving our COVID patients, we're going to honor them too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to honor them too. I'll tell you, I think this community right here, and especially with first responders, I think what our mission is this year is to show the rest of the nation what right looks like.
I like it. I like it a lot. We'll give you a quick update here. Jim Hartman says 300. Larry Leahy says 350. I mean, it won't take long. Our people don't mess around. Let's see what Chris Jansen can do. Chris Jansen says 400. I'd love to get this. Ash is going to put this picture on.
I'll drop it in the comments.
I
here so
like
you'll
what
see
you
it.
did there. That's nice, actually. Ash,
You gotta
I'm
go
going
on.
to keep you, Ash. You're all right.
He's so young.
Isn't he young?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
not
already
that
know,
young.
Colonel, seriously, you would hardly recognize him back when he was a Russian. Jim Hartman's in for 450. And I'm just going to tell you, folks, you're messing with a deep pocket there. Be careful, because Jim Hartman's not afraid. He's very, very,
Scared.
very much a patriot.
I graduated with his wife when she was much younger.
Yeah, well, yes. She was an overachiever. She graduated at 13. Yeah, I know how that works. Well, plus Ronnie went through that 11th grade several times.
Yes. I was going to say, he made sure that he absolutely.
I like 11th grade.
He started out playing safety, but ended up playing defensive tackle because he was in school so long. They just kept feeding him. He just kept getting bigger.
All right, tell them the date.
Okay, here we go. We're going to actually start driving rebar on the 10th of October. So we're right on top of it. 17th of October, I want people to show up.
That's a Friday.
That's
It's a
that's
Friday.
Saturday.
That's a Saturday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 17th of October.
Yeah, we're going to start at 0900 and go till the end of mission. We're going to post flags. And so my mission right now is to collect up as many flag sponsorships as we can. So, get in touch with Warriors Weekend or me, Colonel Mike, michael.petrosh@gmail.com.
Right.
And I'll send you the electrons for the sponsorship. We also have a lot of partners out there, and I hope those partners are going after it because, like I said, I really want this to be huge.
I do too.
I really think that the community of Victoria needs to, and I'll tell you, I've expanded it really to whoever wants to. I got with Sheriff Louderback a while back, and back in August. And he brought in the Texas Regional Sheriff's Alliance. That's 18 counties, and they're participating. I've been talking to folks as far up there as Conroe, up there in Montgomery County, as far south as Cleburne County, out down in Kingsville. So it's going to be a magnificent time.
You know, Louderback, Sheriff Louderback is a great friend of the show, and,
Yes,
and
he
he is that kind of guy. He's
He
about
is.
as American as they come.
So,
By the way, Chris Jansen's got us up to 500. What do you say we run this auction through 8 o'clock on Friday?
Yeah, I think we keep it going.
And we'll try to get these guys kicked up a little bit. Right now, it's what we need is who could come in here and go, what am I bid? What am I bid? We can do that later. See how that works.
So October 28th is the day.
the
First responder day.
17th we're posting flags. The 28th, thanks, Ron. 28th is National First Responder Day. We're going to do it big. We're going to start off with a procession.
Yeah.
Of all the
PDs,
PDs,
SO.
fire
That's
fire
awesome.
departments. Yeah, we're going to start off. We're going to pull into the field of honor. We're going to have
Start off with Patty
ceremony.
Hudson.
Maybe Sheriff Boyd could bring the 2 vehicles they have in
We're
Goliad
talking to
County.
him.
Yes.
Yeah,
We've got two.
you have to leave one.
It's just one.
Yeah.
If they can find some jumper cables. Okay, so they're good over here.
No, we're going to get in. Like I said, Montgomery County is sending their folks in here.
Awesome.
We're attempting right now to get the Texas State Troopers have a bagpipe and drum corps, and so they're
Awesome.
we're trying to get those guys down here.
Folks, let's all try to support this, and here's why. So often, sadly, Victoria is always on the cusp of being on the national media for something dumb. They're busing in people. They're going to bust people in for the rally, and then all of a sudden Fox News is here. Or some idiot does something like burn up a mosque, and all of a sudden the whole city is looked at as somehow phobic. Why don't we focus on something positive like that? And there can't be anything any more positive or American or Texan than respecting our first responders and paying homage to our veterans. And these guys work tirelessly. It's all volunteer. Let's get these folks down here and get this taken care of. I want those veterans to come in. I've seen it several times when they come off the bus, and you can always tell the people that have never been here before. And I've seen veterans take one by the hand. Maybe he doesn't walk very well. Maybe he's lost a leg serving our country. And that gentleman will say, wow, I mean, I know you told me, but I had no idea. And Victorians are out there in mass. They've driven down the roads with people waving at them. It's to me, it's something those folks deserve.
Absolutely.
And I think it's beautiful that you guys do it. And I do believe that Warriors Weekend and the folks here that serve in Victoria do it better than any place else. No place else does it better.
So closing bid today is 500. We'll pick the bidding back
Pick
up
it up
tomorrow morning because Brother Gary and Ralph are knocking on the door.
Now I'll tell you something. I'm not their program director, but Ralph Salazar is the Hall of Famer along with Brother Gary. If you guys have 5 minutes, when we get off, they pick up a whole new listener base of folks that would be eager to hear about this too. If you've got a few minutes,
Sure.
stay and talk to them.
All right.
And that because Ralph doesn't really want to hear Gary any more than he has to, so he's going to let you.
Which one is Brother Gary?
Which one? He's dyeing his hair now. That's why you don't recognize him.
Oh, okay.
He's the one with the black hair and the black mustache.
We're good.
All
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you
very
for coming
much.
by.
Thank you, Colonel. Love you.
Raises some money.
Appreciate you guys.
You guys are great Americans.